Good afternoon and welcome. Today we are going to talk about telepathic communication, and not as a secondary or some kind of paranormal type of communication, but we're going to talk and reference it as it is as the primordial form of communication, the main way that all of the indigenous and the ancient peoples have always communicated. And especially intelligent beings, I was gonna say if you believe in them, whether or not you believe them, whether or not you believe in them, that is one of the main form that is known that they communicate with people. So, and we can call them aliens, interdimensional beings, whatever you want to call it. But instead of writing a script and laying this all out for you guys, I wanted to go and give you guys about 5 or 6 experiences and examples that I've had in my own life so that we could really dive in. And of course, I don't like to talk about anything that I've not had direct experience with and time to integrate. So I wanted to choose the specific examples because they are shown how this form of communication, this primordial form of communication, is layered through all of these examples, which are, I'll call them different mediums, some being human, some being human interdimensional being, and some being via techniques, spiritual techniques such as OBE. So, and again, human, and again, interdimensional. So that is something key to reference, and I'm excited to talk about it. I had a lot of jitters before the show, but now that we're getting into it, I'm very, very excited to what we can get into and the things that I think you guys are going to be very interested in. And so, starting with my first example, or before I get into my first example, the reason why this is so important, I believe, is because they aren't something that is just like, oh man, that's cool. Like, wow, we need to try to just do it for fun or anything like that. Whether or not you, again, believe in alien interdimensional beings or beings that are highly intelligent that are outside of our, I'll say outside of our current sphere of knowledge, I guess, and so and inhabitant, and so it's more so important because it obviously has a tie to human origin, where we are from, what is actually what the whole world consists of. And if someone is giving us messages and communicating with us, there is also a purpose for that, especially if we believe in the possibility that it is directly to give us codes to ourselves, our DNA, and links to our origins and our again DNA to activate us. So if anything, that would be more of the reason why it's important to actually, explore this, just the same as I mentioned in one of my episodes, the Phoenix Lights and these phenomenon of UFOs, or I believe they're called UAPs now, I think, unidentified aerial projections or something like that. But these phenomenon which we call paranormal, which this is going to be the first episode or first talk that I was going to do for this, but paranormal activity which are actually common. So I wanted to do something that would normalize paranormal experience as a common extraordinary um, common extraordinary phenomenon, and actually coming to the conclusion through all of these examples and unifying them or connecting them and emphasizing on how they all are really aiming to, again, one purpose, one call, a oneness, a unification. So that's what I believe is the purpose for this communication. And again, the importance of it is because we speak, we use verbal communication as our main source of communication. we almost can't fathom because we've been told and we've bought into the idea that that is our normal mode of communication. And even though we have body language and we have all these other examples of, again, I don't want to call them paranormal senses, but senses which are so common to us, it's just that their abilities almost highlight the magnificence and the really is the divinity within us that it sometimes seems so far outside of us that we don't want to really give it the credit, because it would mean that we are more powerful than we've ever conceived, and we have to be open to and accept that fact. So we have to be open to what these messages really mean at the end of the day and really search for their purpose and meaning and the connection to, deeper than what the messages are, and ask why are we receiving these messages, why are they something that are not being spoken of, or also played as if they are not important, or the people that are having them are not credible and are crazy. That is one thing that I'm very actually excited to get into and to tackle, because what I really, really love is the evidence is overwhelming at this point now. And what's happening is people of all accreditation and with all kind of credentials, whether we're talking about in high government positions, specifically mentioning military, but also people in academia, scientists, quantum physicists, doctors, people who really deal with life and view it through a scientific, I'm almost going to say a little bit logical, more so, way. What I love is when these people have experiences such as OBEs or NDEs, and they, for example, there is Mary C. Neal, To Heaven and Back. It's a doctor's extraordinary answer or account of her death, heaven and angels and life again. And what's so amazing and struck me, and I love, and it's so essential that she did this. And I believe that every scientist does this, which is important and essential. So being a doctor, she went through the many different, let's say, pathways, or really was troubleshooting her experience to make sure that it was not a product of the mind or the brain trying to just make sense of feeling like, not feeling like dying. She died and then came back. She was clinically determined dead. I can't remember for exactly how long, I believe minutes, because she was trapped she was pinned within our car, and submerged within water. And so what is amazing is she took that scientific approach and said, okay, well, maybe, I'm just going to give examples. Maybe, my brain died and then it fired off, just let's say DMT or chemicals that said, okay, this is what it is, and just looked at it at the straight, let's say neurochemical or neurochemical and transmitter type of route. And then, like all the other routes that she went through, you have to read the book, like all the other routes that she went through, she said that cannot be it. And she's a doctor doing this, for however many years that she has been a doctor, she was able to go through and say it's not this. And I believe that it's the same for any kind of scientist, no matter what your discipline is. Same for the psychologist, or again, neurologists, people who have a very specific, have an expertise. Let's make sure we make that clear, for 15, 20, 30, 40 years on, been doing their thing, and they're, understanding and honing in on their craft and their perspective of the universe. And so it's amazing because, again, let's say psychologist, neurologist, being able to, I had a very difficult time. Not really, but I made it difficult on myself when I first started coming into spirituality. Let's say about 10 years ago, I had my awakening 11 years ago. I had a difficult time when I was doing things such as channeling and receiving messages, full on, like not just like paragraphs, but whole, like a lot of things. Again, I talk about very